Hello, everyone. What is up? Welcome to another episode of the Pixelated Echoes. This is episode 45. We made it to 45, y'all. So, pretty awesome. But I am your host, 3-Bit. And if you're tuning in live, just be sure to drop a comment in the chat. If you're watching the replay or listening on audio, big love to y'all. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, all the things to be notified, when our next video hits. We've been we had like a week or two break just because of life things, like new job stuff going on, and just life sometimes hits you. But we are going to catch up as much as we can. If you guys have been in the comment section, you've been wanting our takes on just different stuff. Fuzzy's been podcasting around, but if you want my take, feel free to drop it in as we are talking throughout the show. But let's jump straight into you, Fuzzy. Before we get into the juicy news, got to get to my friggin' awesome co-host. Can't do the show without him. This is the racing legend, the real life Felix the Cat, the Fuzzy Belvedere. How are you, good sir? And what have you been playing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you, man. It's been weird listening to, or not listening, but like seeing the reactions on social media for some that are fans of PlayStation or just some gaming fans in general. Even the gaming media is kind of scratching their heads with all the things that are going on. But we'll definitely get into more of that a little later on. But been playing my usual games. Like I'm back in this Division 2 flow of things. I did two characters through like the deep Brooklyn DLC, and now I'm just trying different builds. Like I've had 400 plus pieces sitting in storage for God knows how long, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use that for a build, and then never made the build. So now I'm trying to go through each piece and pick the best pieces, or upcraft, or modify the pieces so I can use them for some sort of weird build. Like I got a decent shield build, but I saw somebody that joined me for heroic had a better shield build, so I might have to scrap that and start all over again. But yeah, just going to try some different things in that, and always doing my racing stuff. Still doing GT7 with their weekly event things that they have. They did an update like 2 weeks ago, added some cars. I wish they would get on a better cadence as far as how many cars they add. They definitely need some Audi sedans so we can do like a almost like the old style DTM races back in the day against like Mercedes and BMW and stuff like that. But Forza Horizon 5 is still in rotation. Trying to catch up on some cars I missed. Still trying to collect all the cars. I got like 800 and I want to say 40 out of 870, I think, or 890 that they have in game. So outside of the DLC cars that you can buy separate, I got pretty much all of them except for like two or three that I missed when I took a break from it, like a year or so ago.
Yeah.
But other than that, finally got back to playing Donkey Kong Bonanza because I bought an 8-bit controller. Like I'm trying to avoid the whole stick drift thing by not using the Joy-Cons too much. So I figured instead of taking those off and putting them on that fake controller thing that they give you with the Switch, I figured, well, let me just get the 8-bit one that's Bluetooth, and I can use it with PC and stuff like that. So it will serve a purpose, multi-use and stuff like that. Feels like an Xbox controller. It's just that the X and Y and B and A buttons are kind of flipped. But other than that, that's pretty much it for gaming. Some horror news. Went to a showing for what do you call it? Swine and Dine. A friend of ours produced the movie. It's a real good short. It's like about 27 minutes, give or take.
Was that the movie you got to be in, or is it another one?
No, this one listed as like, or my wife's listed as like a producer because she contributed to the GoFundMe and stuff like that for it. But the one that I'm actually Vampire Food. Hopefully, we'll see sometime. I don't think it's this year. I think it'll wrap up this year, and then be ready for prime time, I guess you could say, next spring or summer. But that one is What's Wrong, Wendy, I believe,
Hmm.
is the working title. But Swine and Dine, if you can imagine, like farm animals seeking revenge on people, although it's kind of a farm animal person hybrid that gets his revenge on a slaughterhouse employee, so or a few slaughterhouse people. So pretty
That
decent
sounds
short.
awesome. Yeah, yeah. That's my jam. That's awesome. Um, I what have I been doing? I play Need for Speed Unbound.
Nice.
Um, it's all right, man. There's something like for me, this like racing wise. There's a few games that like I really love when it comes to racing. Like the car has to not feel so stiff for just for me. Like if I feel like I could drift around the corner, and it's like a little looser, like it doesn't feel like I don't know, so tight to the road, and I
Yeah.
feel like Unbound, and I feel like it's an illusion. It all depends on the camera, where the camera is placed, like behind the car.
Mhm.
I feel like Unbound is really tight, and maybe it's just the car I have and stuff. I was like, I'm going back to like a Horizon or something. But I do want to try a few more Need for Speed games because I've been itching to play like more racing games at some point. So I tried Unbound. I was like, I'll play a little bit more, and then my opinion will probably change in the next episode. Like, whoa, it's
Yeah.
amazing! But
Yeah, there's some tweaking that you have to do. Like you'll have to check to see the type of tires. Like there's some that are more for grip, but as far as drifting, you may want to have it where instead of using the parking brake to
mhm,
kind of throw it into a drift, have it where there's an adjustment for more gas or gas brake alternative kind of thing where you can purposely power slide by just giving it way more gas than you probably should going
mhm,
around the turn and allow it to drift that way. And it seems to work like what you would expect out of like Horizon. The way they have it by default, it definitely feels like it sticks to the road more, but then you don't earn the bonus points or regain nitrous when the car sticks to the road that way.
yeah.
So yeah, you'll have to tweak the settings to your liking a little bit on that.
Okay, that's actually good to know. Because I haven't tried tweaking any of the like the car mechanics yet. My what I want to do eventually in any car game really is make a Mach 5 because I freaking love the Mach 5. So if I can
Mhm.
customize it somehow, if I can't do an Unbound, that's fine. I'm gonna find some car game because I did it before in one of the Need for Speed games. I can't remember which one, and it was like the story part of the game,
Mhm.
and it got pretty hard because my car at some point was like aging out and the difficulty was getting higher.
Mhm.
But I was like, no, I'm sticking with my Mach 5, and it looked really cool. I wonder if I could find that save on the 360. It was a while ago, but that is my goal again to make the Mach 5 and make that thing a beast. If they have like a story, that'd be cool too. But been
Yeah.
playing that. I've played a little bit of uh rematch. Listen, rematch. I play a lot. Um, and I don't know, Poison. How does my mic sound, Fuzzy? Is it a little echoey
It
or
sounds fine to me. I'm not sure if, yeah, see if,
if it's coming out of here? Like if you guys hear, then I don't know. Um, I'll keep playing around with it. I did move my setup a little bit, so things could be a little off. Like you notice, like now you guys see like the center of my room. Usually you're more off that way. Um, so yeah, I'll keep playing with it. But also earlier, Poison mentioned like the time. Like, did you move the time or whatever? Just know, like, I will move the time around on YouTube because YouTube is weird. Like if I start this show, let's say like we'll start the show 8:30 whatever. I will put the time 8:45, 8:59 sometimes. Um that's just because if I start the show exactly at 8:30, or if I miss it by like 2 minutes, then YouTube sometimes will just treat that as a released video for me, and then I have to do a whole new link, and I don't want I don't want to deal with that. So usually right before the show, you guys might see me like change the time really quick. It's just a weird YouTube thing. But the benefit of however I have that set up is, one time there's a huge storm and it knocked out our power. You guys could watch one of those episodes. We were able to pick it back up because of that, which is cool, right? So it's like a downfall. I pick and choose. It's like a weird YouTube thing, but no, appreciate everybody for dropping on in. Oh, it does sound echoey. What the heck? I think it's literally because I moved my setup, and now it's like my sound is now bouncing off. I don't know. Well, you just gotta get used to it for this episode. But no, we're gonna have a good show today. Everybody, appreciate y'all for dropping on in. We got Poison Maniac always dropping on in and supporting the show. I see him posting updates of what we got going on Discord and stuff. Really appreciate it, man. Brett Bingham is in the house. We got Max City ENT, got RSJ Fan 05, Def Leopard as always dropping on in. And yes, appreciate everybody. We got Cage, who's also in here. Cage has such a cool name, by the way. I always like Cage's name. It's like, I don't know. It's like very, her name's Cage Vampiro Baracho. I don't know. There's something about that. That's freaking cool. But no, appreciate y'all. And we're going to jump straight in. Let's freaking do this. All right. So topic 1 will be the Xbox at Gamescom. So I have been looking into this. Got some cool stuff popping up for Gamescom. It turns out Xbox is showing up at Gamescom like they do every year. I think they might have missed one of the years. Was it last year? Or, I don't know. They've been showing up pretty.
Yeah, last year was a big year for them. I think they always show, but last year was when they had, I think, their biggest presence. Probably their smallest presence was sometime around 2017, 2018 range.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was like their smallest show, but I think that was just before they either announced some more studios or something like that. But yeah, last year was probably their largest show, but I still want that Elite 3 announced or something.
Yeah, I hope to see that here too. So it's going to be on August 20th to the 24th in Cologne, Germany. It must smell really good over there, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
So Xbox is rolling up with one of their they got a really good lineup, in my opinion, if you're interested in these games. So there's going to be a couple things hitting the showroom floor. I'll put some Forza gameplay, you guys. So the ROG Ally is going to be there for the the Xbox version. In the article, it says that they're going to have Hollow Knight playable. So I know a lot of people have been saying like, "Oh, this game doesn't exist anymore," and all. Pretty cool, and it's on the Xbox stage. It's interesting that it's the marketing there with Silksong and Xbox. It seems like they have a pretty good partnership there. So expect to see some coverage of not just like people. Like, oh, what does Xbox first party have to show? Whatever. It's Hollow Knight is going to be there, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of coverage just about that alone. They're going to apparently have Roblox there. Like, okay, sure. Mm-hmm. Sea of Thieves is all within the ROG Ally floor, I'm guessing. So you'll have Sea of Thieves, Tony Hawk, Pro Skater 3 and 4 show up. I guess they're going to display how it works on the ROG Xbox Ally. And then, they're going to have more over at another booth, the Asus ROG booth, where they just will display what they got going on. Otherwise, you're going to get Grounded 2 as well. Nice. So more from Grounded 2. I'm actually pretty hyped for Grounded 2. I love the first one. I only stopped playing because the group I was playing with, they all was like, they're playing other games. Like, dang, well, I don't want to play if they don't want to play. So I'm hoping to get like a crew together with Grounded 2. I'm sure the spiders are going to be as scary as ever. It's a different setting now too, so I'm wondering how like it has a really cool story in Ground. If you guys have never played it, it's like there is a story kind of going on, and it's very difficult trying to like when you get past just the main area in Grounded, you feel like whoa, like there's a whole other world. Because if you just survive like going past towards the house and you're like whoa, they introduce like different types of bugs. There's yeah, it's crazy. It's definitely crazy.
I'm hearing the big thing now that's like a game changer is being able to ride some of the insects and stuff and have them like fight alongside of you. So you'd have like almost like a battle partner slash a mount so you can like run away if things get too crazy type of deal. But hearing some really good things about it.
Yeah, and Fuzzy Tomato says I just killed my first wolf spider in Grounded 2 about a minute ago. So,
Nice.
and then Poison says I heard Grounded 2 spiders are harder. I don't know from experience though. If they are harder, oh my gosh, they were already pretty difficult. So, good luck to me, future 3-bit. You got Ninja Gaiden 4. So this will be the first ever public hands-on that we know of, because it's going to have some awesome new combat. It's going to be a proper return for the series. We're going to have Indiana Jones and the Great Circle also there at Gamescom. So it's going to be celebrating the upcoming Order of Giants story, the DLC. You're going to be able to play the game there at Gamescom if you guys are going there. You can like see the booth. It seems like it's going to be pretty cool. And it says here you get to snap the theme photo, race to solve the mummified cat puzzle, something about a cat puzzle, and daily prizes. So if you're at Gamescom, that seems take a picture for me, send it over my way. I want to see what that looks like. Seems fun. Then you got Age of Empires and Age of Mythology Retold. I've been wanting to jump into the Age of Empire games, honestly. I have batches in my brain, right? I have racing batches in my brain. I have I'm returning back to a little bit of some first person games. I reinstalled Dolphin emulator so I can play Tony Hawk Underground, because I've been rewatching a bunch of like skating videos, like, oh, I gotta play that game again. And Tony Hawk had some posts about like Tony Hawk Underground, how he really wants to remake it, and I was like, ooh, and it just, I was like, I gotta play that and see how well it aged. So that I will let you guys know. I downloaded it, I pressed play, and it works. It seems to work just from the menu. So I'll keep you guys updated. We got Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. This one looks pretty dope. If you guys, it's the one complaint some people had of it is like it's not a game. It's super pretty. You don't have a lot to do though. I disagree with that.
Yeah.
But they are adding a lot more features for those people who had potential complaints.
Yeah, it's a full-on sim if you want to be a pilot, but it also has the adventure stuff, like where you're putting out forest fires or rescuing people off of a sinking tanker, and just there's so much more to this one. Like it would have been nice if they could have added that to the other one, but like the graphical update, it's less taxing on hardware, whether you're playing on PC or console. Yeah, it's they were looking to do some more city updates, which they were pretty good with updates on the first one or the previous flight sim from 2020. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what cities that they're updating this go around.
Yeah, it's magic, really, how this game works. Like you could fly around the entire planet, and it somehow runs pretty dang smoothly. Like
Yeah.
still magic to me how they're able to do that. Then lastly, we have The Outer Worlds 2. They're going to have some exclusive theater presentation for that. I'm guessing that's something you guys might see another. You might see a lot of coverage from Xbox specifically on Outer Worlds 2 because they know they're really trying to push that game.
Yeah.
And I think they just downed the price of that game as well from the
Yep.
$80, which I was going to complain about on one of the shows, but then we took a break. So I don't need to complain about it because they dropped it back down. So awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Fuss, just from all those game listings of Gamescom, is this something you're excited for? Are you hoping to get some major news from some of these different titles?
Well, I'm definitely excited for what Xbox is going to have to show at Gamescom. One of the big things, because I'm figuring we're going to probably get pricing. Maybe they open up pre-orders for the Xbox Ally. Like this is a device I'm looking forward to possibly replace my Steam Deck. Now, bear in mind there's probably going to be a Steam Deck 2, but I don't think that's going to drop until late 2026 or early 2027. Like Valve is being very um, I guess you could say calculated with releasing a Steam Deck too. They'll wait until I guess there's a better chipset than like the Z2 Extreme, which like even the Legion Go and the MSI Claws next one are going to be based off of this Z2 chip. So this is getting the jump on what would be basically the next gen of handhelds. So hoping the price is reasonable. The more recent leaks about pricing seems like it's going to be more on par with 500 or 600 for the one in white, and then like 800 or so for the one in black, provided that the 90-day pause thing doesn't become a factor again. But it looks like that's what they're targeting right now. But yeah, pre-orders for that would be great. I'm hoping we get some info on an Elite 3 controller. I already fixed my Elite 2. Like the rubber grips are starting to come off because I guess there was a crack along the seam and the rubber started lifting from that. So replacing that faceplate fixed it for me. Knock on wood, it stays like that at least until the Elite 3 comes out. But I think it's time for them to update the controller, possibly have a dedicated share button instead of having to remap it, as well as also having, although I think the second gen of the Elite 2 had that share button on it and stuff. But
Yeah.
what do you call it? The haptics, as long as it doesn't eat up battery life like the DualSense does, I'll be fine if they have them. But the haptic triggers that they already have on the Elite 2 has been fine for me. I just want a next gen, more durable, possibly less stick drift, possibly from the thumbsticks. Although I tighten the tension on mine pretty good, so knock on wood, no stick drift on that one.
Mhm.
Um, but as far as the games, the Hollow Knight Silk Song, while they're unveiling more about the Xbox Ally, like that's a match made in heaven. You have that Metrovania and the handheld, and that's kind of like I've gotten more into those types of games playing on like my Steam Deck. So showing that on like the handheld and having more people have hands on at the show for it, I'm hoping that the game releases around the time that the handheld releases, or maybe we get a shadow drop notice kind of thing.
I think
Either
Sarah
way you
Bond
look
said
at it,
something about that, right? She said something about like releasing it with the game.
yeah,
But
yeah. So if they release it at Gamescom, that's going to blow up the internet for a bit, and a lot of people are going to wind up downloading it from Game Pass and stuff like that. But that I'm looking forward to that one. But they also got, I guess, Chronos, the new Dawn, the game from Bloober Team. That's going to be
mhm.
playable there. So I'm curious to see what people say. I like Bloober Team's work. It would have been nice if Silent Hill, was it 2 or whatever, comes to Xbox here soon. I think they have it set for either later this year or next year for it to eventually come to Xbox. But I like the medium when they had that at the launch of this console gen and stuff like that. So looking forward to Chronos, seeing what that's like. Um, let's see. We also got Metal Gear Solid Delta. Snake Eater is going to be there, so
Oh, yep.
curious to see how that plays. With more people having a hands-on type of thing, so getting feedback on that. Borderlands 4. it'll be good to see some more updates on that as well. But yeah, there's so many games that I'm hoping we kind of get surprised by. Not just what's going to show at Xbox's showcase, but like the Super Meat Boy 3D, definitely
Yeah.
one of those that's perfect for a handheld console as well. So looking to see more about that and when it releases and stuff like that. But yeah, this is going to be, I think, a good showcase considering we're still, we have a pretty good idea of what we're getting from Game Pass the remainder of this year, but it wouldn't hurt if they have a surprise or two, which not to spoil anything, but hearing some buzz about maybe a Fallout 3 or something else from the Bethesda camp and stuff like that. So plus I think we get what is it? The tower thing or keeper, I think is
Mm.
going to be playable there or more shown about it from
Okay.
Double Fine and stuff. So yeah, it should be a pretty interesting show.
Yeah, you made some lists. I know. Listen, I know I'm an Xbox fan. I only listed the Xbox games, but yes, there are a lot of other games, a lot of other people showing up to Gamescom, and it's going to be Gamescom is been stepping it up over the years, and it's slowly becoming a favorite of mine in terms of events because you get the major show, which is the Xbox show. At this point, they're leading the E3 for expectation of when I was a kid and I would look at the big shows. I would look at what does Sony have? What does Xbox have? Nintendo. Now it's just kind of like Xbox is the lead in terms of presentation. But there are like other shows outside of that sort of June time frame, and Gamescom is definitely been stepping it up. I forgot about Metal Gear. I love Metal Gear. I know Hideo. Some people asked Hideo Kojima if he's going to play it, and he was like, "No, I'm not going to play it." Um, I feel like he's going to play it. He's just never going to admit it. But um, I'm really looking forward to Metal Gear Solid 3, the remake Delta. And Borderlands 4. I completely forgot about till Fuzzy said it. Yes, Borderlands will be there. Yeah, also really looking forward to that as well. There's a lot of little things that are going to come out of this show where like the ROG Ally, I know a couple of people had hands on with it. I do wonder if they're continuing to work on it and make it a better experience because it's the first kind of device where they're trying to really cater the Windows experience to handhelds. And I've heard rumors that they're going to put the ROG Ally updates to other past ROG Allies. Maybe I could be wrong, but that would be pretty cool for people who already have a ROG Ally. They get a better UI experience because I think the big thing about mobile is yes, a lot of what's in the Xbox Ally is possible now, but some things aren't as seamless and not as user friendly, which puts off people like me who like the reason why I love consoles in general is the ease of use. Like I love just being able to jump in my media room and turn on my console and start playing. Whereas on the PC, it's a little bit more of work. In some cases, like if I wanted multiple people to play, especially on my same PC, everyone has a crowd basically in this room. Like all right, my desk is here. All right, you want to play? You got to put another. It's just a lot easier. I know there's ways to make it more like a console, but not in
Yeah.
my current setup. So I'm looking forward to seeing if they've made some improvements on the Xbox Ally since they shown it last. I mean, it already looked like it was freaking great, so I'm excited for it. I'm just wondering, like, if they had feedback from that preview. They're like, oh, we added this and this. Ninja Gaiden 4 as well. Like,
Oh yeah.
I was playing Black. Yeah, it aged well. Ninja Gaiden is one of my like I don't resonate with Dark Souls type games as much. Sadly, I would love to. Like I was like, oh, if I'm like with a group and we're all trying to beat it, then maybe that can encourage me. But Ninja Gaiden, for some reason, it like it's fast paced enough where it doesn't feel soulsy. Um, which is why I always like the Ninja Gaiden series. So I'm really looking forward to what they got with 4 and everything coming out of that. Outer Worlds 2, I don't know why. I'm not as excited. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because like there's so many other games I have my focus on right now.
Mhm.
Like right now I'm more hyped for Grounded 2 and Indiana Jones than Outer Worlds 2 right now. That could completely change when the game's out and you'll look at this video and be like, 3-bit, what the heck? I see you playing online. I see you playing Outer Worlds. I don't know. Yeah, I guess my attention is focused. But Outer Worlds 2, the preview that they did at the showcase, it is overwhelming the amount of stuff they added to it, like the guns and the like all the different mechanics they added to the second one to amp it up. Obsidian is like master class and somehow like shoving out games out of their studio and making games like I think scope is a big thing. Is
Mhm.
like scope, feature creep, all that different stuff where developers work on a game for like 30 years. We have to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And Obsidian just has this crazy formula. I don't know how they did it, where they can make games feel bigger in other ways. And I don't really know how they do it. But magic of a studio for sure. If you have to pick one one game to rule them all at Gamescom that you're most excited for, what would you say?
That's tough because I kind of glazed over what do you call it, Outer Worlds 2. Like
Oh yeah.
I'd love some things about Outer Worlds, the original one, and after trying to play it a second time on a harder difficulty where your companions can permanently die. That's that I don't think I'm gonna be ready for with the all the new mechanics because they added like a lot of like good and bad traits or attributes, like staring into the sun will, I guess regenerate healing, but
Mm,
then it adds like a bit of a glare effect when you go to aim down sights or something. So it's like some stuff is great and some stuff not so great. Well, not as far as from a gameplay standpoint, but it's almost like that risk reward type of deal. And I think that's going to be out of what's shown at Gamescom, unless there's another surprise that they pull out of the hat kind of thing. I think that's the one that I'll probably play the most. Silk Song will probably be a close second, but I also want to see something about Chronos. Like for a future coming game that I think is like at least a year out, because I think Chronos is supposed to be a 2026 title.
mm.
That's the key 2026 title that they'll probably show that I'm looking forward to. But Outer Worlds 2 is what I'm looking forward to the most for this year of
Heck
what
yeah.
will be at that show.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. And anything Starfield related, if they have, of course, like someone
Yeah.
mentioned Starfield in chat. I
Mm.
might have been Poison. Um I freaking love Starfield. It was my game of the year. I think it was my game of the year technically twice because it was the game of the year for me when it came out, but then I played the DLC um a little bit later than everybody and then I played it. I was
Yeah.
like, this is incredible. I know it doesn't count, but this is my game of the year again. So yeah, whatever news they got going on for Starfield, if it will be at this show. Um
Yeah. Hearing
I
Starborn, I know that was like the leaked uh, project name or something like that. But for those that have already did the new game plus, be interesting to see what this DLC is going to bring to the table. I can
mm,
only imagine. Like I think for anybody that's been a fan of like Star Wars kind of level stuff, not saying that that's what this is going to be, but I
yeah.
can kind of imagine having to fight other Starborn kind of in that same vein, like being the last Jedi kind of deal in space or something.
Heck
But
yeah.
man, I really hope they figure out a way to do like a co-op mode or a multiplayer mode at some point. If unless they're making an MMO, I think having like a fleet of your friends flying through space, either fighting against the Crimson Fleet or fighting with the Crimson Fleet. Yeah, I can only imagine. Like I would much rather have that than what's that game that's been in development for like 10, 20 years now?
Um.
Star Citizen. Like
Oh
Star
yeah.
Citizen looks great, but like they that's where feature creep comes in. It's like, oh yeah, we should make everything persistent in the world. Oh, we should make bigger ships. Oh, we need more funding, so we need to sell these ships at bigger prices. And yeah, they
Yeah.
looks great, but they keep adding stuff, and then it breaks the game, and then they have to fix it, and then it's still in beta. Although Squadron 42 or whatever they're supposed to call it, I still I don't know if they've ever released it. I know they were talking about
Mm-mm.
releasing it later this year,
Yeah.
but now I think it's pushed to next year.
Yeah. I think they pushed it earlier so that they could finally get it out the door. Something like that. I don't know. I have a weird history with like Star Citizen because I played it, um, and the community of Star Citizen. I guess they've invested so heavily into Star Citizen that that is their baby. If you talk trash about it, they're not having it. Like that community is very protective over Star Citizen. Just read a couple comments, you guys will know what I'm talking about. But it is very feature creep heavy, and but it is a dream of a game like Star Citizen because like what they're trying to do hasn't been done before. Um, but it's like there's some sort of predatory kind of stuff in terms of like the pricing, and like if you want to fly this ship, you're paying like 1,000 actual dollars just to fly it, and they're like, oh, but you're investing in the game, and it's like they don't really have much like why would they want to finish at that point? You
Yeah.
know, you keep giving thousands of dollars on ships. They're like, oh, okay, we could take our sweet time at this point. But no, it is a cool, like that is my dream game. Like theoretically, I just think, yeah, it's not gonna get there for some time. So
Yeah.
we'll see, we'll see. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just saying, Star Citizen, all the things.
Yeah. No, I for me, Starfield is that game of a generation, the space game that I didn't know I quite wanted. Like I'll be honest, like Fallout didn't hit for me. As far as Bethesda, and I've never really been into like the high fantasy stuff, like the Elder Scrolls and stuff. But
Mm.
Starfield was like an instant hit for me. The gunplay, the shipbuilding, the space travel, and I know people are like, "Oh, loading screens." It's like it's fine. I everything about it. Like I like the random events of coming across like a whether it's a space pirate or you come across like the old lady that
Oh yeah,
can
gives you pie.
yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I'll come over for dinner, and some people out there go and kill her, and other people just have dinner and go about their merry way. But the fact that you could do almost anything in that game, you could double cross the Crimson Guard, or you can double cross I forget what they call them, like the OC or basically like the space police and stuff like that, or you can
Yep.
be part of the space marshals and whatnot, or you can be part of this like spy hunter game, or not spy hunter game, but like a spy hunter type company, and almost be like
Oh yeah, I
cyberpunk
started
type
doing that
level
one.
stuff. So it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, there's just so much to it. Like yeah, that's my game of the generation. But yeah, I hope they talk about that Starborn DLC or whatever DLC they have, in the works for the next release. Because Shattered Space was awesome. I know people were like, "Oh, it's kind of short," but that's because they didn't like follow each clue or do some of the side mission stuff or prevent people from fighting or killing each other or
Hmm.
searching certain planets for ghosts or other beings trapped in this different realm or whatever. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the DLC announcement for it.
Yeah, I can't believe some people say like I beat it in 6 hours. I'm like, you beat it? Like what? Because I played it. It took me a while. Maybe it's just different game styles, but I can't imagine you beating that game in that short of a time period without really experiencing all the different side quests and everything it has to offer. And that's just like Bethesda games in general. Like it really rewards you for exploring and trying things and not just trying to speed through it and just do the main missions. Like I really get lost in a lot of Bethesda games because like yeah, it's so good, so good. Let's get to some of the chat. You guys are awesome. I want to go up all the way to Cage saying, Fuzzy, I know you're a fellow horror fan, stoked for Chronos. That was earlier. Shout out to you. Yes, yes, yes. Negative Zero says, I'm actually more interested in that than Silent Hill 2 remake. That game does look dope. I gotta check that out for sure. We got Stanley saying, what it do, Fuzzy? We got RSJ fan saying, Starfield is my favorite Bethesda IP. And then Poison mentioning that he was the one who mentioned it first. So I was like, oh, I think Poison said it or whatever. Yep. So shout out to you, RSJ fan. He says, I hope they never make it an MMO. I do hope they make it an MMO, but in a different way. I'm also fine with Starfield being co-op. Like if they could somehow keep the experience of this, it's very story heavy. It feels like a lot like your choices still matter, sort of a vibe. And if they could do that within a co-op setting, like heck yeah, that would be amazing. And then Poison mentioned that's been talked about yet 3-bit. Is that a rumor or no? He's talking about the ROG OS update. I couldn't remember where I heard it. That's why I was like, I think it was a rumor. I just couldn't remember that I heard that once they update the ROG Xbox Ally to be very good for handheld, I then heard like they're going to apply that update to all the other older models of the ROG Ally. I just couldn't remember where I heard that or if that was a thing, but if that's officially out, I mean that's awesome for people who already have it. That's something to look forward to for sure.
Yeah, I heard something similar. I'm not sure of the timing. I think they might withhold it for a year just to kind of give the new Xbox Ally its own breathing space kind of thing. And then, oh, look, an update a year later coming to like the previous ones. But at that point, there'll probably be a Z3 chip. And the
Yeah.
previous ones may not be as sought after in comparison to like the Z2 or the Z3 chip handhelds and stuff. But yeah, Xbox is going to want to not necessarily counter Steam because Steam is also offering their big picture mode or their handheld mode, like from the Steam Deck. They're offering that not just on the Legion Go S, but they're also in testing for if you want to install it on your older ROG Ally or if you want to install it on your MSI Claw. So it's going to be almost like an OS battle between Steam and Xbox at that point. But
Yeah.
Steam is less worried about battling in that regard. As long as people continue to buy from the Steam store, I think they're happy. They're just looking at an easier way to get more people on board with Steam from the get go. Because from a PC standpoint, it's like the default store. Epic is way behind in fan favoritism, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
But yeah, if Xbox can get on those older devices, beat out Steam, yeah. I mean, they already should have Windows and Armory Crate
Yep.
on some of those, but yeah, Xbox they definitely want more of that PC and handheld PC crowd as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's gonna be really interesting. Eventually, that we'll talk about like Sony's side of all this. That will be our topic later on because I'm gonna remember what you just said there because I have a thought to that. But I'm not gonna spoil it right now. But RSJ fan says Free Star Rangers. I'm playing Starfield right now. He was mentioning when you were mentioning the different groups of people, factions you can join in Starfield. I think the latest one I was doing was the very business centric people. They were like very corporate-y. I can't remember what they were called. If chat remembers what faction that is, like there was a Freestar Rangers. They were like the cops.
Yeah.
We could do bounties and things like that. But there
I
was
think it was like Ryu Industries or something.
yes, right. So that was one I was starting to do in my latest playthrough, because I was like, I don't want to join them. That sounds boring. Like, woo. And then I was like, okay, I kind of want to try it out. So, I am enjoying their mission so far as well. Just doing all the different freaking factions in Starfield. Google Poll says 6 hours. That's BS. Yes, I agree. But some people have been saying that. They've been saying like 12
Ryujin.
hours, things like that. What was it called?
Oh, Ryujin. I
Oh,
knew it was something
Ryujin
with
is
an
that what it's called?
R.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew it was like Ryu something. So
Yeah.
Ryujin. Okay. And Google Poll says, is a Starfield DLC coming this year? Do you know?
I think we're going to hear something about it because there's also that rumor that it's coming to PS5. And I think they made mention that they'll have more news on DLC as well as more stuff coming to or more updates for Starfield. We'll see. Some insiders have been saying, oh, it's going to PS5, but I think we at least get an idea of what either that Starborn DLC or what other DLC they're looking to do. Like I know some are opposed to like an MMO version, but like I would love to see co-op. Like if they could add that, um, kind of like the way, and I know they're totally different games, but like the way Returnal added co-op, and I think even Ghost of Tsushima, even though yes, I know it's a different platform, but they added that like after the fact. So if you could do co-op in something like Starfield and just have like your friends with their starships, and then you go wreak havoc on a couple of the other factions and things like that, I think that would be pretty awesome.
Mm,
I don't
yeah.
necessarily know if we need PvP in it. PvP would be kind of awesome, but like for those that don't want to do PvP, I can totally understand and having that like as an off or always off type of thing. But at least from the co-op, I think that would be pretty awesome. Like just imagine building something like the Enterprise. I know people have built like their own version of the Enterprise in
I think Jasper
Starfield, but
did too. He
yeah,
was about to or something.
but have one person control weaponry, the other one control engines and shields. Like, all right, divert more power to the shields. Take away some of the power from the engines of some, or get ready to spin up the engines for warp and stuff like that. So yeah, you could pretty much recreate or relive like a Star Trek fantasy in it. But I'm thinking if they do Starborn, it'll be like a blend of Star Trek and Star Wars because those force powers that when they showed that in that one trailer where the guy just went and people started floating dead kind of thing,
Hmm.
that was awesome. So yeah, I'm real curious to see what more updates they have in store because the vehicle stuff definitely came in handy. I know that there's been mods to make it like a hoverboard or a hovercraft kind of thing, and there's all kinds of other stuff that like people have made mod missions and things like that as well. So yeah, I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Yeah, the media always pisses me off with Starfield because there's I just want more of Starfield, and I hope that they're not discouraged about like what they say about Starfield in general because I can't get enough of freaking Starfield. I think it's freaking amazing. Negative Zero says, did you guys see the new Virtua Fighter footage? It was shown at Evo. I did not, but I seen the test gameplay they had a while ago. If that's what you're talking about, or if you're saying like brand new, um, if it was that, that looked freaking cool. Um,
Yeah.
I could tell like there was no snappiness to the fighting and things like that. Like it felt very fluid, which means like it's probably not real right now. But if they are able to do seamless animation blending, which is what I had to do at Ubisoft actually, like blending different animations from different angles, so you're blending animation systems. If they're able to do that with a fighter, that could be really cool.
Yeah.
But heck yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Oh yeah, Negative Zero says it just came out over an hour ago. So okay, in-game footage. Okay, I definitely gotta check that out because that seems awesome. We have Mac 22 with the $5. This is our first super chat. I didn't even know. I knew I turned it on, but shout out to Mac being the first super chatter on the channel. Appreciate you, man. We just hit 500 subs the last episode. And yeah, I'm so appreciative of you guys. You guys are amazing. He says 3-bit fuzzy, didn't Nate the Hate say Starfield was going to PS5 like 2 years ago? Nailed it. Hashtag nailed it. He did. And so many other insiders have said like, oh, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see the DLC once the DLC comes out. You're gonna see it come to PS5.
Mm. Didn't happen with Shattered Space.
Yeah.
You know what? I think there was talk earlier on of Starfield, but I think it felt like they knew that was their bonus card or a golden ticket, so they held on to that one. I think they wanted to see the reaction on something like Sea of Thieves, something that was crapped on by the gaming media, and then how well it did over there. The same thing with Forza Horizon. Oh, it's not worthy of Game of the Year, according to Jeff Keighley. And it blew out everything else that was available on that platform. So I think they're purposely making them wait. Like, I don't want Colin Moriarty to be right about it, but you know what? If they got to wait 3 years to get it, so be it. But yeah, I think a lot of people that were giving it a 7 out of 10 were wrong, and they'll be eating crow here, maybe when it comes next year, because it's seeming like it may not be until next year it comes over. Yeah. But yeah, some of those insiders, I think, and it's no disrespect to Nate or any of the other ones out there, but sometimes I think they guess or predict or throw darts at a wall kind of thing, and they're like, oh, well, this makes sense because why would they send something like what was the other game, Pentiment over? But they sent Pentiment. They didn't send Starfield. They sent Pentiment. So the game that they didn't mention gets sent over, and then the one that they mentioned, even Phil said no, that's not one of the 4. But it comes later, and they'll buy it full price while we got to play it day one on Game Pass, or we wound up buying the deluxe edition to play it early on Xbox, years before it comes over to the other platform. So I don't know. Maybe that PvP that I was talking about earlier, maybe that's when it finally goes over the PlayStation. And since we're already comfortable with our spaceships, maybe we, kind of show them the ropes in space of Starfield after it comes over there, if they have like a co-op or a multiplayer or something.
Yeah, and if they do multiplayer, that would be a good, because I'm not saying that Starfield's never going to PS5. Their new strategy has shown that they will. I just think the insiders and all that that was saying it around that time was like, oh, it's because I remember Xbox era. Sorry, I have to call you out a little bit. Had an article. It's actually still up, I believe, that says like Starfield is coming out to PS5 during the Shattered Space DLC expansion. Mm-hmm. That has happened. Still not on PS5. Now I know some people could have said like, hey, we heard some things, it wasn't wrong, yada yada. Yeah, it was around that time period where a lot of insiders were saying things. Yeah, you guys know what time period I'm talking about. A lot of people were insiders at some point. But what I will say is like Xbox's new strategy. Yeah, it'll be on PS5. I'm sure at some point. I think it is like really smart and strategic to do it like what Fuzzy said if it had multiplayer, because then it's like an extra boost of people for sure who like, oh, I wanted to try out Starfield. Same thing that's happened, like you see Forza on the screen right now, and it is huge on PS5 right now. So yeah, it could have that extra boost. But Web Dave, shout out to you, good sir. He dropped on in saying, everyone, please hit that like button. And he also said, dude, I didn't see your live there. I would have sent my chat to you. My bad. Love you guys. Have a great show. Please hit the like button. All good, man. Not the fact that you do it in the first place is it means a lot. So appreciate you coming on in and supporting us each and every time you can. So much love to you and everybody over there. All right, read a couple more and then we got to get to the second topic. So Calorie says, if Starfield going to PS5 means I get Fallout 5 into Game Pass sooner because they can hire more devs, I'm all for it. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. This is the second topic. Let me put on it. It's more of like a 1.5 because I did want to talk about Battlefield 6 a little bit before we get into the other one. So just talking about Battlefield 6 just for a second. Not gonna lie, I've been looking at all the coverage for this game. I am starting to get hyped for sure. Which is crazy. I did not feel this for Battlefield 2042 when it came out. I remember Matt was like, yeah, and Paul was talking about it. I'm like, I don't know. They kept like releasing articles like, we don't have this. I'm like, well, what do you have? You know, at this point.
Boards?
Like, do you have guns? Like, can I shoot? Like, it was something going on. But so I'm getting pretty hyped for Battlefield 6. I think there's a lot of good things that are shown here. A lot of the people who are in the Battlefield community are responding very well to what they're seeing. They started to release some news recently too. EA officially announced free-to-play Battle Royale for Battlefield 6. So if you are interested in Battlefield 6 and you're like, I don't know if I want to invest, they added a pretty good way where you can jump in with the Battle Royale. They are also making crossplay optional in Battlefield 6 with a setting to enable or disable it. They are doing this really renewed focus on squad play, so your role actually matters. They are making it so like they have these massive evolving maps where objectives and choke points change depending on what the players are really doing. So yeah, it's kind of leading to this topic for people where Battlefield is back. Yeah. I think there's a lot of positive here. I don't really want to praise EA for doing something they should have done in the first place with the other Battlefields, but this is what I did want to see with a Battlefield game. Like, focus on squads, focus on destruction. Like, I freaking love Battlefield for its destruction, for its like sound quality as well. Like, when I think about the past Battlefield games, like I always thought about like just like two things that always stick out to me was the sound quality. Like when you looked at like a DICE game, like, oh, you know the sound was going to be really good. And then the destruction, where if someone is like camping in a building, you're like, okay, all right, I'm coming back for you. And then I would come back with like a rocket launcher and blow the whole building up. And you can't really do that in Call of Duty. There's a lot of moment to moment things in Battlefield that I never experienced with any other game till this day. Whether it's like people are like above you and there's a whole team up there. I would put like C4 on the ceiling and blow it up and they all fall and you start shooting, just amazing cinematic movie type moments I've had in Battlefield. So just getting your thoughts, Fuzz. I did catch like a snippet
Mm.
a PTK show, and I was like jumping in, but I was preparing this show at the same time, so I couldn't jump in the chat. But just thoughts, what you think about Battlefield 6.
All right, now keep in mind, I had a bad experience with 2042
Yep,
at
same.
launch. Now, a lot of those things were rectified later on, like months down the road, but my initial from the beta, at that point, I had already pre-ordered it, and since one of my sons wanted to play it, I didn't bother canceling it. But if it was just me at the time, I would have probably canceled it back then and then picked it up later. But after that and Jedi Survivor before, a patch further down the road. The day one patch didn't do it for me.
Hmm.
I kind of wrote off EA to never want to spend any more money with them and just play the games through the EA Play Vault kind of thing.
Yep.
This has me kind of turning the corner kind of deal. A lot of the stuff I've seen reminds me of my fun times I've had with Battlefield 4. Although I know Battlefield 4, although I didn't have the issues with the server launch day, a lot of people did. It was a fun time, mainly as a helicopter pilot. That was like the main thing I would wind up doing is finding a way to get into the vehicles first. Um, but all the destruction, all of the sound stuff, like even before the most recent stuff, like when the pre-alpha was starting to leak, and originally EA was doing those copyright strikes and taking the stuff down, and then they realized people were excited and enjoying the stuff, like hearing the bullets whiz by your head kind of thing, and know that they're hitting the concrete behind you type of deal. Or when they hit enough of the concrete, it's breaking that wall, or your tank can basically either take out the floors in the building, or just shoot whatever tower the sniper is perched on. Yeah, all of that is what Battlefield should have been with 2042. I don't remember anywhere near the amount of destruction I've seen from 2042 compared to what they're showing now. So I think they learned this is what we've wanted in a Battlefield kind of deal. And I think I'm going to wind up pre-ordering it, but I'm going to be part of this open beta for the next couple of weeks. Uh, that will give me full hands-on to know if they've fixed some of the issues I had, like with 2042. For during that beta period for that, the problem I had the most was like how like some of the air conditioner things on top of the building, or
Hmm.
some of the oil tankers and stuff. People would actually find a way to get in there and could shoot out, but you couldn't shoot them while they were inside there.
I didn't
So there
know that.
was like hit detection stuff and some other buggy stuff in that regard. I mean, hovercrafts climbing buildings, kind of things.
Yeah.
That just it wasn't that it completely spoiled the gameplay, but it definitely made some times frustrating, and that's what kind of turned me off from get go. But if all of that is resolved, I expect server queues and stuff like that to be outrageous at this point, just because of everything that they've showed, all the hype and buzz behind it. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to hop in, so I expect that first day to be a little rough. But if as long as the hit detection stuff is not an issue, as long as like the bugginess of falling through the rooftop of the building, or being able to get stuck in certain things and shoot people when they can't shoot you, as long as all of that is a non-issue during this beta, then I'm sold. But the server queue thing, I want to prepare everybody, because it's with any multiplayer game, servers are going to be an issue, and unfortunately, Battlefield it tends to have that, but not to jinx them in any way, shape, or form. If they're really targeting that 100 million player base, and they get the servers like knock it out of the park right out of the gate, this game is going to move units as far as people getting back in Battlefield. And it's not to take
Hmm.
away from Call of Duty in any way. I think it'll just be a nice change of pace where you can do squad stuff with tactical movement, and have it feel like it matters without going full on mil sim. Like things like squad on PC are great if you have a squad to play with and you're used to, military kind of communication and call outs and things like that. But if you don't want to go that serious, and Battlefield can deliver that, what they've shown in the trailers, and some of the streamer gameplay. Yeah, I think this is going to be a juggernaut this holiday, and I'm probably going to wind up ordering it, going against my EA rule at this point. But yeah, if they got this thing working right out the bat, yeah, I'm sold.
Yeah. And I do want to double hit on that because I mean, a couple of people are mentioning in the chat too. Negative zero was saying 2042 was the worst battlefield to jump into for a first timer. Yeah, it when it launched and I played 2042, it was me, it was Mav, Pong, and Jasper. I remember we had a long conversation about it. It was so buggy. Like I was falling through the floor. I was like, at one point, I was like shooting a gun, and then my gun was flying away from my hands. Like literally, as I was shooting, I was like, "What the heck? Where's it going?" Um, it was really buggy. And then how they handled that whole thing, where it was like oh no scoreboard, like this. I have a really big pet peeve with like certain games nowadays where they're like we'll fix it later mentality. Like I hate that in modern day game development, with now that we are at a place where we have the technology to update games, as opposed to before, like you get the game on the disc, this is where it is, so they put a bunch of polish and work into it rather than figured out in a patch sort of a vibe. I feel like that mentality, like, oh, we'll just fix it in a patch later on, has made it so a lot of games come out with features coming out way later, and it actually, I believe first impressions are very important. I know Poison mentioned like a lot of the battlefields did have like kind of broken launches, and I do agree with that. I think maybe what it was for 2042 was like I played it at launch. The other battlefields I played Bad Company 2 probably the most. I love Bad Company 2. I did play it later. I discovered it later because I was mostly playing Halo around that time. It was a seamless experience when I played it. But listen, man, EA, you're the biggest company in the world. I just hate that mentality where like, oh yeah, we'll just add these features in later, it'll be fine. Like big features, I get like you're gonna have like thousands and thousands of people on a server. There's things you can't really predict. You can do a lot of testing, and and that does help. And I wish they did even more testing with certain games. But when you have like whole features missing, like a scoreboard and and things like that, like that's kind of that's unacceptable. So I don't want to praise them again for doing basic things. I'm hoping when I jump into the game, I have all these different features. I have campaign, I have multiplayer. That's stuff like people was praising them like, oh, we don't need campaign. I was like, what? like like stop praising companies for adding less. You know, I want the basics in there, and then I want more from the basics. Like you have the basics in there, awesome gunplay, awesome, great game modes, have squads, have all that, have campaign, and then add more to it. Because this is EA. They have so much money. A lot of people like the Battlefield franchise, so yeah, let's push it. Let's push it, make it better than the last previous entries, and that's what people wanted. They want better. And I think Battlefield 6, just from some seeing, I mean, it's up on the screen. It looks fun. It looks like it's something I would want to revisit after 2042. I'm not gonna lie, I was very off put, same as Fuzzy, like off put by EA in general. And Battlefield, honestly, just because of like that experience did not feel very good. And I did not revisit it. I know some people's like, look, they fixed it now, and I'm like, they lost me. Like first impressions are definitely bigger for me. When I jump into certain games, like I don't want to make it a chore, like wait for you to fix the game. If I bought it, like I'm just if I install the game and I press play and I'm flying through walls and stuff, you best believe I'm gonna press the refund button. So by the time I install the game and press play, that would be my impression. Like I think a lot of reviewers, what they did with Jedi, for example, is that game was so buggy. The graphics and all this stuff was not the greatest at certain points, and no reviewer talked about it because like, oh, they're gonna fix it. Even the reviewers had that mindset of we're gonna fix this later. I'm like, no, when I press play, what is the experience I'm having? So like I hope that they have that mentality with this one. I know a lot more eyes on it. I know EA knows that as well with all the big events they're having with all these streamers and everyone playing the game. I think they had a couple big events with that. They had a bunch of streamers play it. They're having all these trailers. They're pumping the marketing quite a bit. I'm hoping that translates to awesomeness. So we'll see. We will definitely see. But EA. Listen, you got me interested again. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. And Poison Maniac says I'm not defending it. To be clear, I agree. 3-bit. Oh yeah. No problem. Yeah. Looney War Vet says I'm telling my age a bit. I remember LAN parties back in the day, connecting a bunch of computers and laptops together to play Battlefield. Fun times. Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
For me, it was Halo. But yeah, I get you. All right, let's get into the other topic. This is all you fuzz. This is PS Studios games coming to Xbox. Man, what are your thoughts? What we got?
Yeah. I think some of this recent news has broken the ponies. I'll say ponies because not every PlayStation fan is a pony, but like the ones that are probably the most vocal on social media, this upset them. This got them in their feelings. Sony wants to expand PlayStation Studios games beyond PlayStation hardware, hiring to partner with Xbox, Steam, Nintendo Switch, and more. Yeah, Sony's following Microsoft's multi platform strategy, looking to acquire a bigger third party publishing footprint across PC and even rival consoles. Now, I know some people are like, oh, it makes sense for Helldivers too because it's a multiplayer game. Why not? That doesn't really, affect anything. But um, there was a recent job listing that I would have to say, with it being a recent job listing, it's not to do more of the same. Like if they're already putting Helldivers 2 as a multiplayer game on Xbox, then why would you need to hire a senior person for that? Somebody obviously had the gumption and the knowledge to be able to get that done and get Nixus on it.
Mm-hmm.
So this job position thing has more to do with up and coming stuff. So, over the past year, I'm reading this from Windows Central. Some people are fans of Jez. I'm a fan of Jez, even though we don't always agree. But I like his reporting in reference to this. Although this is more so to do about the job listing stuff for PlayStation,
Mm-hmm.
but it's for a senior director, multi-platform and account management. Basically, this job position that's going to pay, you know, low to mid, six-figure range. Like I think it's somewhere in the 350 to just shy of 400 range,
Yeah.
which
Pretty
that's for the
good.
senior person. And I think there's supposedly two additional people being hired for that person's team, basically like their right-hand men or whatever. Um, this means Sony's pretty serious about this change. But I guess the thing that some people were looking at with this is that PlayStation isn't just the best place to play. This is per their ad or their job listing. It's also the best place to work. Today, we're recognized as a global leader in entertainment and producing the PlayStation family of products and services, including PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, PlayStation VR, PlayStation Plus, and acclaimed PlayStation software titles from PlayStation Studios and more. PlayStation also strives to create inclusive environment and empowers employees and embraces diversity. We welcome and encourage everyone who has a passion and curiosity for innovation and technology to play and explore open positions and join our growing global team. The PlayStation brand falls under Sony Interactive Entertainment, a wholly owned subsidiary of Sony Group Corporation. And then they have these listings here, or this listing for the senior director, multi-platform and account management. And I guess their location will be San Mateo, California. Remote is okay, but West Coast preferred. So this is something that if you have the credentials, you could probably work from home kind of thing, but you're probably going to need to travel on a frequent basis and probably have to touch base at their headquarters, off and on, and maybe even fly out to Japan on occasion. But the job listing is reporting to the vice president commercial management as senior director of multi-platform and account management. You will play a critical leadership role in shaping and executing the global commercial strategy for PlayStation Studios software titles across all digital platforms beyond PlayStation hardware, including Steam, Epic Games Store, Xbox, Nintendo, and mobile. This role is accountable for optimizing title profitability, ensuring cross functional alignment, and leading a high performing team focused on multi platform expansion, mid range commercial planning, and platform partner management. Now, that's a lot of words to be throwing out for a position, but basically, we've heard this echoed before. Jim Ryan has made mention that the PlayStation console base was not enough, so they had to expand or look to the future for things like mobile and PC, or at least that was the walled garden that they believed they were, potentially going to try and acquire, were more customers on their phones or more customers on PC, which they've done a decent job with their, Steam store add-ins and things like that. But as time progressed, Yoroki Totoki, who was the CFO, who was changed or not really demoted, but he was tasked to oversee the PlayStation division, which he did for about a year, and then was promoted to CEO for all of Sony, um, and then left. I forget the one guy's name now that's in charge of PlayStation, with Harman Hulse kind of staying with the studio stuff. Um, he had made mention, like in their business update, that they were looking to expand their reach beyond PlayStation. And once again, some of us were thinking, that makes sense for PC, maybe consoles like Xbox and Switch, which the PlayStation loyal didn't believe. I mean, just look at how well MLB The Show performed, and I know a lot of people say, "Well, MLB made them do it." Sure, but they still like the money that they're making from it. So, um, when he said that like a year or so ago, some of us said, hey, maybe things will start coming to Xbox or Switch. And then we saw the Horizon Lego game, and people were like, oh, that's not coming to Xbox, which, well, truth be told, it probably will at some point. But I would expect a lot of those games that they've been remastering two and three times and selling to PS5 owners that may have already owned it on their PS3 or PS4, we could very well see those come over to Xbox. Like, what better way for them to capitalize on The Last of Us for those that aren't necessarily interested in buying a PS5, but watch the TV series and enjoy it enough that, hey, maybe they want to try it on their preferred platform. So bringing it to Xbox makes sense, considering how Disney has beaten them over the head for the licensing behind Spider-Man. Some of
Mm-hmm.
that is kind of them gently twisting their arm so they can get the rights back to Spider-Man. But all in all, they're paying a pretty hefty licensing fee, and they've already sold all the copies that they're probably going to sell on PlayStation, whether it be the remaster of the 2018 Miles Morales or even Spider-Man 2. what better way to sell more copies than to bring that over to Xbox or bring that over to Switch? So all of this is basically what some of us have been saying for a while now, that most of the gaming media, and there's been a few that have, said that this is probably the direction that, things are headed. Like I'll point out Paris is one,
Yep.
ACG is another, and there's probably been some others in there as well that are the more prominent figures saying that, we'll see similar actions out of PlayStation that we saw with Xbox. And considering how well Xbox has been doing selling older games over to PlayStation customers, what better way for PlayStation to learn? Hey, we would like to, screw up their top 10 most sold games on their charts and stuff like that, by selling them over to Xbox customers. Like, I'll just quickly, before I hand it over to you, hearken something that Phil Spencer said at that business update, which people kind of overlooked to some extent. He said you can monetize your current customer base, which that's what Sony was famously doing by selling remasters and remakes of a game from the previous generation or maybe even 2 generations ago. And that seemed to kind of fit the bill for them at the time. Or you can expand beyond your player base and monetize new customers. Now, we all saw what monetizing new customers meant when it came to Xbox. We saw some titles go over to PlayStation. All of their titles were already pretty much going to PC. We may see some titles continue to go over to Switch, although the hardware being probably the drawback at this point. But
Mm-hmm.
all of that to say, these companies are about making money nowadays. And Microsoft being a $4 trillion company, that's definitely something on the forefront that they're looking forward to, as far as how to grow the business without necessarily squeezing the customer. Because when you squeeze the customer to the point of no return, they stop subscribing to your services, or they might just stop buying altogether because every time they turn on their box, they think you're trying to hit them over the head with, reselling them something that they bought 2 or 3 times in the previous generation. So Sony also saw how well Xbox was doing and decided maybe we need to do something similar. And I know people will say, oh, well, why would first place copy last place? Well, we've been saying kind of for a while now that PlayStation does tend to take notice, much like your companies like Apple, what other companies are doing and what's successful. And then they kind of come in later and do the same thing, and people attribute them as being, oh, this is the greatest kind of thing type of deal. But yeah, what are your thoughts with that new hiring position? Of course, it's going to still be some multiplayer stuff, but I'm pretty certain a lot of it's going to help with the single player games coming over to other platforms.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about this position in this new direction that Sony is headed in?
So many, so many thoughts. Um, you made a lot of good points. I think it's the typical like Xbox steps in the mud and Sony puts down the wooden pallet after like, oh, I could just, you know, um, yeah, I have a lot of different thoughts on it. I think for one, that it is something we have been talking about for a while. We would listen to what Hiroki Totoki would say in these investor meetings, and a lot of Sony fans like, nah, that's not what that means. And he, they would say stuff like, we want to invest outside of our current plan, essentially. And you're like, okay, well, what is their current plan? And their current plan is exclusives and only, to their platform, maybe occasionally put it on PC. That's their current plan. What do you think that means outside of their, their current strategy? Well, that means reaching to other platforms, but not a lot of people wanted to go there. Not a lot of people wanted to even think that way, because there is such a strong mentality with like a lot of Sony fans and like brand loyalty and just different things like that, where um they could see Xbox doing it, but they couldn't see like PS doing it, to the point where like all the rumors about like Helldivers 2 for a while, you had like Colin Moriarty saying like this would never happen, you know, like Sony is a first party, or Helldivers is a first party IP. Well, it'll never go on Xbox, and here we are, right? So a lot of these studios, a lot of these companies, they are evolving. I think Xbox is at the forefront right now where they are seeing the benefit of just reaching outside of their ecosystem. I think there is a benefit to what I've been saying, like the ecosystem wars. Like we're no longer in this exclusive games kind of mindset anymore. It's what is the benefit of when I play on a PS5, what can I get as a Sony customer, or if I'm an Xbox customer, what can I get as an Xbox customer? And that's Game Pass, and that's, you know, even though you can play the same game on another console, what you being an Xbox customer means you get X, Y, and Z outside of just the game itself. But if you want the game, like Forza, you can play that on PS5 for full price. And Xbox really does benefit from that. Like the fact that you can either buy the full game for like $60-$70 on PS5 or just play it through Game Pass. A lot of people who are on PS5, even if they have an Xbox, chose to buy it, right? That's because people love their ecosystems. They prefer to play on that platform. So if they prefer to play on PS5, cool. Xbox is saying we are providing those same games on over there for you. But if you want, you can probably experience it cheaper on our platform. There's benefits to doing it on our platform. I think what Sony is looking at, for one, their first party lineup has been extremely weak, in my opinion. In terms of like the release cadence, it has not been there like it has in previous generations. So what are they starting to do? They start to rely more on like, okay, let's make like more movie investments. Let's make a Helldivers movie. Let's do, put more investment into like all these different anime studios that they're starting to like buy out, like Crunchyroll and all this other stuff. Let's buy like Evo, and they bought like some game. They're making investments in all of that different stuff. They're finding different ways to compete, and I think something they've noticed from Xbox, and this is a pattern from Sony, by the way, where Xbox tries something, they get bashed in the media for it, like, look how different this is. Why are they doing something? Whoa! And then Sony comes out and does the same thing, and they're like, oh well, I guess it's normal now. I guess it's fine now because Sony is doing it. There's such a long history of Xbox doing stuff like this and then Sony following, and then it becomes okay. It's actually kind of annoying if you follow gaming news, or if you follow just like the history of the amount of times that this has happened. Ray Old says Helldivers movie. Yeah, Sony is making a Helldivers movie. It was in that announcement. They're making a Helldivers movie, a Ghost of Tsushima movie, and then something else. But honestly, what I think, it's just based on where they are, like Sony is not able to put out the release cadence that they've had in the past. Games take a lot longer to make nowadays. So we've seen in this generation PS5, they really heavily relied on remakes and remasters. So those games were expensive to make. So if you just put those games that is already done on a whole other console where there's a market that has not been able to play, or they don't want to buy a PS5 to really invest in it, that is money. That is a lot of money. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, I would love to play PS5 or would love to play Spider-Man on my Xbox, but I don't really like the PS5 ecosystem, right? Well, then you would be friggin' accessing a whole new audience. And I know we're approaching this from the logical sense, just because we've been talking about this for so long. But it's really funny to me to see the amount of like hypocrisy that's kind of coming from some of these Sony peeps who are who was like bashing Xbox for the past few years for this, and then now Sony's doing it. Now it's like the goalpost is like shifted quite a bit from oh, it's only MLB The Show. That was the first sort of goalpost.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only a year, 2 years before it goes to PC, so it doesn't really count. To it's only Helldivers 2.
Yeah.
It's gonna like how many goalposts you gonna keep doing it? Like, oh, it doesn't count because it's only on Xbox now. It's only like what's the next thing? So honestly, it's just funny to me. As a gamer, and I've said this multiple times, like my preferred console is the Xbox. I prefer the value the value proposition it gives me. But honestly, play where you want. Yeah, I think it's gonna quickly in the next few years. It's gonna be the ecosystem wars, where you can play Spider-Man and all these different games on different platforms, but it's about like ooh, if you buy it on PS5, you get the Spider-Man special skin pack. I don't know how they're gonna market it over time. But it is interesting. I think Sony is sort of looking at the waves of what Xbox is doing. They probably looked at Forza's numbers, because they make what, like 20-30% of every sale. They're like, what? Like, this is how much we're making just from this 20-30%. Imagine. Just imagine their game on the Xbox. I know people would say like they're third place. Like, why would Sony want to put games over there? There's still like 30 something million people on Xbox. There's a ton of people on PC. There's a ton of people on the Switch. So if you just combine those numbers up, that's a lot of money that they're missing out on because of exclusive games. Just putting games in and being known to have this mentality of like, for what? I understand there's the brand mentality, but I think this where gaming is headed is maybe that's shifting a little bit. That could just be me and me not really caring that much. I know a lot of people do care about like that about exclusive games and everything. I think there are benefits for sure, including like people buying the console, but I'm not working for Sony. I'm not working for Xbox. I'm just like, can I play the game? Is it good quality? Cool. That's like my worries. But I know some people make it very much their personality to like, where is this game going? I can only play it on this. Haha. It's like a war sort of thing. So yeah, a lot of different thoughts on it. But overall, I think that just from seeing the job posting, it's stuff Hiroki Totoki has been kind of talking about already. It's now just people are really seeing it. It is more official, I guess, because they're saying it in a different capacity. But Hiroki Totoki has talked about like expanding into other platforms and things like that before. Yeah. I think now that people are finally seeing the word Xbox in there, it's scaring people a little bit. But I mean, it is what it is. I think it's gonna be really weird to see a PS Studio game as I launch it on the Xbox or on the Switch. That's gonna be a little weird. As for generations, it's always been the big three, and only play games on the Sega Genesis or in the past, and so it's gonna be a little weird. It's a little weird, but we'll be okay. We'll be okay, Sony peeps.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Any additional thoughts, man?
I'm hoping at some point, even if it isn't full third party, I hope Nintendo follows suit to some extent. And I know there's some Nintendo fans that will disagree, but the Switch 2 is not the greatest piece of tech. It's not. Like for what I paid for that, you can get a Steam Deck that can outperform it in a majority of different ways. Um, that being said, they keep on closing or suing these ROM sites and they're leaving money on the table. Like I'll just say from my own personal experience, I would love to because I wasn't a Nintendo kid growing up. I was a Sega kid. My sister and niece had the Nintendo and stuff. I only bought the mini for the boys, and after I beat their butts on what was it Street Fighter 2 or Super Street Fighter 2 or something, they lost interest in it. So I would love to have like Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3 and maybe Super Mario World purchasable for my Switch 2. Like I don't want to have to subscribe every year to play that game. Like I get it. Oh, well, he subscribed to Game Pass, blah, blah, blah. But I can own the stuff that's in Game Pass. I can buy it and then not subscribe to Game Pass anymore and still have that game. I can't do that with Nintendo's online. So I want to be able to buy the game. And now, if it means I buy it on PC so I can play it on my Steam Deck because it might chug on my Switch 2. I mean, those games are probably fine on Switch 2, but I'm
Mm.
curious what a Star Fox would look like on the Switch 2 kind of deal. So
Oh yeah.
uh, I just want them to do that, have it where we can buy it on PC, we could play it on our Xbox Ally, or we can play it on our Steam Deck or whatever handheld device we choose. And if I want something a little bit more powerful than a Switch 2, I can go ahead and do that and still play the game. That I think would make more sense because otherwise they're going to constantly chase their tail to sue shut these ROM sites that as soon as it's like whack-a-mole, you whack one and another one pops up. So it's like they're always going to be chasing their tail on this as opposed to getting the money from somebody willing to pay. Like a lot of people on PC, yes, I know some people say, "Oh, there's pirating." There's pirating on everything. There's pirating on music. I mean, after the Napster era, I would say the music industry is as good as it's going to get as with streaming being what it is today. It may not be as great for the artist, but from a user standpoint, it is, a lot better than what it was. Um, Maybe not the quality of music, but at least the availability and whatnot. But not that I want gaming to go completely that route, but I do want it where we can pick whatever device. So if we already own a
Right.
device, I can take my game that I may have purchased here and play it over there. Like, think of it this way. Wouldn't it suck if you bought a Blu-ray that was from Sony Pictures and you could only play it on a Sony Blu-ray?
Yeah. Yeah. That would
Like
suck.
that's the kind of older logic that we're using with gaming. And we've grown up with it that way. But now, if you look at any other form of media, I mean, the only thing I hate now is that you got 52 different subscription services. You got Peacock, you got
Yeah.
Paramount, you got Prime Video, Netflix. So it's like, but at least some of their studios will allow some content elsewhere. Now, Disney is probably the stingiest of them all kind of thing, but
Yeah.
um, in general, you can find some of the other studios' content on other subscription services, but the majority of it's on their primary. But I want something closer to that, where if I decide I don't want to bother with the other subscription service, I still have access to some of these movies, or they may only be there for a limited time or come back a year or two later. But I just want Nintendo to get on board sooner rather than later because after the Switch 2, I mean, they've struck gold twice. That's rare for Nintendo. Well, I might be speaking a little early. So far, it seems like Switch 2 has struck gold, and as well as the Switch 1 did after the Wii U. Yeah, I'm not saying they're on borrowed time, but they're going to have to adjust with the times because,
Hmm.
yes, while they have loyal fans, at some point those loyal fans are going to start looking at these other handhelds that cost less and are more powerful and play more variety of games. May not be able to play their favorite games, But then again, some of those same individuals will download the ROMs and be like, I already own it on, from my NES or Super NES. And now they have like the PC version that's technically illegal. But hey,
Yeah.
people would pay if they offer it. Let's hope they
Yep.
get on board here sooner than later because yay, Sony's on board now, and we can all enjoy the sharing of games.
Yeah.
When
I
when
think
we all play, we all win.
when we all play, we all win. Like at the end of the day, them putting Spider-Man and all these games on other platform is good for Sony because they will make a lot of money, and it's good for people who wanted to play these games but didn't want to invest in said ecosystem. And yeah, I mean that's good for everybody because that means we get to play more games. Got to shout out Brett Bingham, the $2 super chat. Again, appreciate y'all. I think membership stuff, figuring out what's going to happen with that, or how we want to do membership and all that different stuff. So be patient. I'll figure it out. But Brett Bingham said for $2 says PlayStation gamers are not enough. Jim Ryan. He quoted Jim Ryan. Yeah, like I think people don't look at those quotes, or they just kind of look at how Sony typically is and how they've been running, and they assume that they're going to run that way forever. But no, businesses adapt. Businesses at the end of the day want to make a lot of money, and that means their strategy is going to constantly change. I will say Sony's strategy, they don't really have to go first in a lot of scenarios. They can just read the tea leaves of what Xbox is doing and realize a lot of what they're doing is correct. Like as like there is the fanboy still in me, right? I can still be like, oh, I wish Starfield would never go on another, I have a little bit of that in my brain because I can get it. I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, whatever. At the end of the day, right? But then Sony, Nintendo, Xbox, they just want money. They just want a lot of money, and it actually benefits us in a lot of ways for these games to go in multiple places. What Fuzzy was kind of saying, I do hope is true at the end of it, and that goes more into like game preservation and digital rights, which I think needs to be more important. I think we're seeing some echoes of that with like there was like the petition for like save the games or
Yeah.
something like that, which a lot of game developers were like pushing against, which I'm like, that means he's doing a good job. um he's speaking out. I think the Ubisoft CEO is mad. I'm like, the one person that is mad, and I worked for Ubisoft, right? The one person that is mad about this is also the same person that was like, he doesn't want you to own your games. Like, I wonder why he doesn't freaking like this petition, right? I do think that needs to be spoke up about more. And no one is saying, by the way, in that petition, because I've seen a couple of people talk about it, no one is saying that like, oh, they have to put a bunch of money into their servers, because that's what the CEO guy was trying to twist it into. You have to put a bunch of money into servers and only like 5 people are playing. Like, no, just give people some sort of offline option where maybe they can host servers themselves, or I think it's just too common for once a developer gets tired of a game and they move on to the next one, they will like shut out the people of the first game, like on purpose, shut down servers, make it buggier. They'll just do kind of like crazy stuff to get people to invest more in a newer product. But if you bought it, that should be, something you can continue to just have a good time with. Like there shouldn't be a way where a game is shut off and you can never play it ever again. Like I just think that's happened way too many times. And there needs to be some sort of game preservation, because if you bought something and all of a sudden you just can't play it, like, I don't know. I just think it's shady. It's messed up, and
Yeah.
I support that movement.
Yeah.
For sure.
If anything, at least put like a peer-to-peer option I mean, don't necessarily make that the primary at launch, but you know, 2, 4, 10 years later, and the game is like, only a few hundred people are playing. Yeah, at least offer up the credentials so that way people that want to run their own private server can do so. Like I'm kind of looking at Ubisoft with the Division 1, which I
Hmm.
still play on an occasion, and it's one of those always online type of games, which I just never thought that Division 1 would ever become extinct, and they've tried it 2 or 3 times already. So I'm just glad that they allowed it to live on when Division 2 was out there, and I'm still playing a good bit of Division 2. So I just have a gut feeling by the time we get Division 3, Division 1's going to probably be offline, but it would be
Yeah.
so nice to be able to, like, there's people that go and purposely do the seasonal stuff and go and do that. Like they'll have a 20 person squad split up into the dark zone and go through the seasonal stuff in the dark zone. We still need the possibility of that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. 100%. Like if it's an online game, you have some AI, like do an offline, like just make it easier for you to not be able to have to invest in servers where people can still enjoy the game. That's if it's an online game. But there's also single player games that get shut off and you can't play it, whether due to licensing or whatever. That's also what I'm kind of hinting at too. That I feel like needs some work. Poison Maniac says there's a lobbying group that has ties with gaming companies in the industry, always criticizing it too. By the way, 3-bit, yeah, like I just find it funny that the people criticizing it the most are like the most corrupt people, like EA and Ubisoft. And so I'm like, oh, I wonder why you don't like it. It's like so obvious to me, but uh what to say, PTK Blam dropping on in. Awesome show, dude. Like I was watching it earlier when I was preparing for this show. Fuzzy was in it and Pong, and you guys were talking about some awesome stuff with Battlefield 6. That stream actually made me more hyped for Battlefield 6 when you guys were talking about the classes and everything. I am a medic as well, just saying. I'm a medic class, so looking forward to maybe playing with you when the game drops. We got Looney Warvet saying, I never got a chance to play Helldivers 2 on my PS5. I wish it was going into Game Pass, but that's okay. I'm going to buy it for Series X. Yep. Yeah. I mean, shoot, I'm surprised it's coming to Xbox at all. But we're getting it, and we're gonna probably continue to get it on Sony, different games. So pretty cool. I'm definitely gonna invest. You gonna play Helldivers 2, Fuzz?
Oh yeah, I played it for a good bit when it came out. I purchased it on PC because I figured just my bad experience with Destiny on PlayStation. I've either will buy things on Xbox or on PC if it's going to be a multiplayer game that I want to continue playing. I haven't decided if I'm a double dip yet on Xbox, but the bit I've played with like Jasper and Mav and Pong and Steel, um, it's a absolute fun game with a group. Even when you're doing it with randoms, it it can be a bit frustrating sometimes if people don't understand normal communication or that you're trying to warn them not to get into the way of the stratagem, but then again the bomb winds up killing the main insect that you're going after and just happens to kill them at the same time. So
Yep.
as long as they're not holding like those rare materials, everything is good at the end. But yeah, that game is just so much fun. It's like Battlefield meets Starship Troopers. Like the
Yep.
stuff that's cool about Battlefield and the antics of Starship Troopers, the movie. That's what that game is. So I recommend it. It's definitely worth picking up. And
Yeah.
the skins or the microtransactions for the skins are reasonable. Like $5, I think, buys you at least 3 skins that are pretty
Oh,
cool.
nice.
So
That is cool. I know like people like to complain about microtransactions and stuff. Here's the thing. I invest. Okay. Like you gave me a golden uh freaking armor or something that I think it looks cool. I'm probably buying it. Um they be getting to me for sure with microtransactions. Like I'm probably the reason why EA exists. To be honest, because I always invest in microtransactions. Safo says that's Apple. They have forced obsolescence. That's kind of what we're talking about, like
Yeah.
continuing. Apple is really bad with it. Like there's so many stories of Apple like having lawsuits where they'll intentionally make a phone's battery worse on older models, and they would admit to it in court, and then they would do it again because they have so much money, and then they keep doing it and doing it. And like, oh, just it's like just like a small like little fee to them. So they just yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We got Delroy saying, any thoughts about the ongoing NSFW game delistings on Steam and itch.io due to payment providers and other outside influence? This is a good question.
Yeah.
What do you think, Fuzz?
Whew. Okay. So I hate credit card processors for a number of reasons. When I worked in automotive retail or aftermarket automotive retail, credit card processors would always believe their customer first, no matter if we had delivery proof or not. And chargebacks were a pain in the butt. Um, Credit card processors would also, if and this is where I have problems with them sometimes. Like if you change your buying history because you're on vacation, like when I went to FanFest in 2022, I had an issue with buying my boys their Xbox FanFest shirts because I guess they saw that I normally don't buy clothes outside of where I live. So me buying 200 and some odd dollars worth of clothes, they're like, "Oh no, this can't be him." Process it, just let it go through. Like money is there.
Yeah,
But then again, that's not as much the processor as it is whatever bank that you have the card like printed through. But like to deny somebody or to deny the platform like Steam, like all right, I get it. Some people like some of these adult themed games. They've always had issue with like adult content, which dealing with credit card processors in the past, the problem that they would have is that somebody would legitimately order it, and then either they would get found that their wife finds the purchase history, and then they'd have to cancel it and say, "Oh, somebody stole the card," so they would do chargebacks. So credit card processors have always had this like fine line on what's considered acceptable content, and if it you know crosses their toe over the adult line, if the person that holds the card is an adult and they're buying it, just let them buy it. Don't make it so Steam can't get their money and the person can't get their content. Like it's a catch 22. Like
yeah,
there's always going to be that segment of content. Like yes, I used to buy adult movies when I was younger. Like we've I don't know if everybody's been there, but like Hollywood Video used to have like the little curtain thing. Like the other video stores had that.
mm-hmm.
Nobody necessarily wants to admit that but stuff, but it's like I don't understand why if I'm paying the bill for the credit card and I want the content, why can't I get the content? If Steam says that it's okay with having that content on their platform and I want that content, the last person that should tell me no is my credit card company, as long as they're either paid up or it's attached to my account and ample money is there. Like there shouldn't be any interference. Like the censorship aspects of it is what I hate, and
Yeah.
it seems like we're getting into this censorship spin of stuff, and it's always the weirdest thing. And I don't want to get political, but I gotta say it.
Mm.
Whenever a certain administration gets in it, and it's not the individuals, but it seems like the collective, when they get into power, it's like, oh well, you can't see adult content, and then it's like, well, wait, didn't your pastor and you get caught doing stuff on an island or on some sort of trip and stuff? It's like you want to censor what other people see or do, but then
Mm.
you're the one doing what you're trying to censor other people from doing. It never fails. But all of that stuff aside, credit card processors should not be deciding what we can see or do or purchase. That Like if the card or if the purchase is legit, that's it. Like, okay, if the card's stolen, I get it, charge back. Make sure it's actually a legit stolen card as opposed to you check the IP address. No, you actually downloaded it from your actual IP address. So unless your kid stole your card and you don't have any kids listed on the account that you have kids, so there shouldn't be the censorship by that constraint. Like I would say, if we're going to talk about censorship, anything that would be like underage content, yeah, no, there's no place for that. But aside from like if it's a video game about adult stuff, let people buy it. Let people have fun. Like I don't get it. Like if they pay their MasterCard bill, let them have what they want. If they're not paying their MasterCard bill, then obviously take action, but don't act as a censor for
Yep.
adults. Like that shouldn't be a thing. I don't
Yep.
know.
No, 100
I've ranted
100%.
enough.
No, I friggin' 100% agree with you. Like if you have the money, it's like it's like you go up to a cash register. It reminds me of a skit actually, but it's like you go up to let's say you want to get coffee, and this happened in a skit, and he's like, "Here's the money." You're like, "Oh, we don't take cash." Like, okay, well, here's my card. And you're like, "No, we want you to go through this process, and like you have to sign up for our rewards program and stuff." Like you shouldn't control how people should like here's the money. you know it is weird that payment processors would want to dictate what you can and can't buy. Like I agree that if it's illegal, sure, but it gets to the slippery slope, like someone mentioned in the chat, of like okay, you ban this from being able to be purchased, like what else will that come with in the future if this is the first sort of foothold? Just make it easy for people. And it is weird that Steam, we actually just talked about this in the last episode about like Steam being kind of the place that like surprises me that there was a lot of like sort of uncensored games. Also, it is funny that they're starting to crack down on that. I have my suspicions that it's because of consoles. I could be wrong. That now that Xbox and stuff could be on Steam, and maybe they're trying to
Yeah.
crack down on that. Like, oh, yeah, we can't allow that because of Xbox's policies. That's my theory on why maybe it's starting. Maybe they're having conversations with Valve and all that different stuff. Um, but yeah, that's just my theory. There's no freaking evidence of that. But
I think you're onto something with it because consoles, with the exception of, I find it weird. Like Switch One, I guess has some oddly contented stuff on their store sometimes. But um, yeah, if Xbox is going to have the strict policies that they do and they have access to your store, I think Steam is just basically throwing their hands up. It's like, well, we could probably keep the content, and then we would have to note that you can only use prepaid points. But then, do you accept Bitcoin? Do you do PayPal? But then PayPal would probably make it so they could still charge it back or whatever, even if the person doesn't contest it. I think, at least from what I've seen in the industry, where like some places won't accept American Express, for
mhm,
example, because they cater more to the customer than the actual business. If there's any question of fraud or chargeback or whatever. So Steam is probably at the point where it's like, unless the person's mailing in a check, which then the bank will probably find out that they're buying, was it Mayo Pie or something along those lines, like one of the manga games or something. And it's like, yeah, we're not going to cash that check for you, and then Steam would be out of money. And I know Gabe is not about that life. Like he's the same one that made fun over at Tim Sweeney about being mad about Epic and stuff like that. But
yeah.
yeah, it sucks. But yeah, uh, we benefit by having access to Steam through our consoles this coming generation or with this upcoming device. and maybe this is the repercussion. But I don't blame Xbox as much as I blame the credit card processors because
Right.
they've always been a-holes in through the retail industry in general.
Yeah, facts. So let's get to our last topic, man. Shout out to all the people in the chat. We got Real, Sifo, Decado, and who brought up this topic? Was it Delroy?
I think
That
so.
yeah, Delroy. When he said any thoughts about the ongoing NSFW. Yeah, shout out to you. That was a good topic. It is something I've been thinking about too, like with Steam, because it's been popping up like Steam starting to take down certain games, and then I heard about their GOG's promotion of like 6 NSFW games that they're basically kind of fighting that back a little bit more. My whole thing is like, yes, like I'm not a fan of censorship in general. It is going to be interesting seeing when all these stores start combining. Someone is going to give in to policies because of how brands work, but also credit card companies, and like they should not be involved in what you purchase if you're giving them money. That shouldn't be up to them. It should be up to you what you want to buy. Like that's like you go into a grocery store and like, I need some milk and some cereal and stuff. They're like, you had enough cereal today. I think you should get something. Like what? Like what the heck? Yeah, that gets into some weird territory. So just let people buy what they want to buy. Our last topic, good sir, is we got Xbox. Some more Xbox news. Xbox dominating the PS storefront. This kind of goes into a couple things that we've been talking about. Honestly, this is kind of a chef's kiss for anyone who's been in the console war debates. I have a picture up where it shows a list. Thanks to Fuzzy for providing it. We have number 1 being Forza Horizon 5. We have 2 Elder Scrolls, 3 MLB The Show 25, 4 Call of Duty Black Ops 6, 5 Doom Dark Ages, 6 Indiana Jones, Minecraft, always somehow making a. What do people buy in my, like? Don't people already have the game? I'm just saying. 8 Assassin's Creed Shadows, 9 GTA 5. Same question about GTA 5. And lastly, WWE 2K25. So those are the top 10 best-selling games on PlayStation platforms, physical and full game digital, from digital data sharing publishers and the digital leader panel ranked on dollar sales. So again, this is just really funny to me for the people who said Xbox has no games, and then as soon as those games come to PS5, apparently like it's the only games on PS5. So it's pretty crazy. And to me, this, I bet you Sony's looking at these numbers and being like, well, shoot, our top selling games are not our games. They are Xbox games. What if we could do the same over on Xbox? You know? Because from all of these sales, like the best selling game right now being like Forza Horizon, they are only getting 20-30% of that profit. Imagine the other way around, this on Xbox, if like it's selling really well. So I think it kills the Game Pass kills sales talking point that people have always been saying, that like, oh, if a game's on Game Pass, why would anyone buy it on any other platform, blah blah blah. Like, people have preferences. They're going to stay on their ecosystem. Like, clearly people are still buying these games even when they could play them elsewhere. This is Xbox's Trojan horse strategy in action, sliding their games into competitors' ecosystem, quietly dominating the charts. And if Xbox was truly irrelevant, they would be owning most of the top spots on PlayStation's own storefront. So it is more proof that the gaming landscape is ever shifting. Xbox is playing the long game in a lot of ways, but I think it's also it's interesting because Xbox is one of the top publishers in the world right now, gaming publishers. But yeah, it goes into this thing that we keep talking about, where with Sony, they're looking at these numbers and they're like, "Oh shoot, let's do that too." So any thoughts, Fuzz? This top 10 list of Xbox is dominating the PS charts because they got no games. So all I see is a couple. I only see MLB The Show on here.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, and some people will say, "Oh, well, maybe when they have one of their bangers like OC Otai, things will be different." Yeah, it'll be different for like a month, maybe two. Um, I it's hard to say. Like I always kind of knew Forza Horizon 5 would be where it's at. Like this is why, you know, me and many other Forza fans were like Jeff Keighley saying that it wasn't worthy of being a game of the year was the dumbest thing that's ever come out of his mouth, or at least that I can recall.
yeah,
Um, so it's no surprise with Forza Horizon being up there, and the other titles are not really a surprise either. Like the Minecraft movie definitely helped Minecraft jump back up the charts, but that's always something that's in the top 20 anyway. Like it could be a Tuesday in February and it's still in the top 20. Um, that game is always going to have, well, I won't say always, but it's going to have legs even when our grandkids are almost old and gone kind of thing. So um, it just goes to show that yeah, while the console warriors and some of us may not have liked that strategy, it definitely was an opportunity for them to earn more revenue, which in turn continues the support for some of these titles. Like even though I'm really looking forward to a Forza Horizon 6, the fact that we still get support for Forza Horizon 5 this far into its lifespan, like this is the longest support where they've had new cars show up. Although that kind of stopped, I want to say in May was the last new group of cars, but unless you're doing all of the additional content that they added in Realms for the new unlockables, you still got plenty of stuff to collect. Like I said, I still got like two or three cars out of the non DLC cars that I have to still unlock and stuff. So yeah, it's great to see how well Xbox is doing. It'd be nice to see if Sony can match this to some extent, but I think unless they let out a lot of the big guns all at once, I don't think they're going to match on a publisher standpoint what Xbox is doing. Like
yeah,
Xbox won, best publisher in 21. I think they're well on their way to winning best publisher this year. Like, yeah, what is it? From Software with the Elden Ring DLC might be up there or something, but yeah, I think Xbox between its first party releases and some of their older releases that they re-released on PlayStation, there's no doubt that they're the number one publisher this year. Capcom might be able to give them a close run for their money to some extent, but I don't think in volume numbers, I don't think Capcom's even at what they're at this year. So
yeah.
yeah,
And it just goes to show you like the amount of investment they made and the amount of studios they bought. Like it set up the vision for Xbox being able to have a more of a steady release for having Indiana Jones, having stuff from Bethesda, Obsidian, all the other studios they now have Rare. I know they've had layoffs and things like that, but they still have a ton of studios, ton of talent at these studios, and I think the vision for what they wanted to do, and they said they're still not done buying studios. I think the vision for what they wanted to do was have so many studios that they can kind of pick and choose when they want to release certain games, or maybe hold some back, or put more time or put less time. Like, oh, seems like it should be done by next year. They have the freedom to do that. Sony doesn't necessarily have that freedom. Um, they've canceled so many games at this point, but those were the games that were in development. So now a lot of games on Sony's side are pushed 2-3 years out. Um, they were going to have Bungie's game Marathon come out, I believe, this year. Controversy happened with that, where um, stolen assets, etc. Now it's delayed indefinitely. Um, and there's not a lot of other studios that are having a release cadence. Yeah. So, anyways, I think by putting their games on other platforms will definitely help. And who knows? I'm trying to think. Like Forza, I already knew when that game was coming to PS5, that was gonna sell like bangers.
Yeah.
Is there a game that Sony has in their current catalog that you think, if it goes to Xbox, if it goes to Switch, will make like top 10 of best selling? I think maybe Spider-Man, because that sold
Yeah.
pretty well. Do you have another game in mind?
Spider-Man definitely. It would come down to timing on The Last of Us. Like I think if the TV series, because I think didn't they finish? I think season two already, and they're working on season three or something along those lines. Like if they were to
Yeah.
time it just before season three, I think The Last of Us could top the charts, or maybe right after season three, because just like how the Fallout series got people to rebuy, well, not rebuy, but like some new people to buy Fallout 4 and a lot of people to return to the Fallout series and a lot more people to hop back in to Fallout 76. I think if they time it with the show, it could definitely do some numbers. One that I would like to see what it would do on Xbox. No, actually two.
Mm-hmm.
Days Gone, because I think
Mm,
and it's not that
yeah.
I'm saying that, Xbox players like zombie games more. I mean, we've been inundated with like the Dead Rising series, which was kind of an exclusive for one and three, and then four became multiplat
Mm-hmm.
a year later, and I think two was a multiplat. Because that was one of the few games when I was on PlayStation that I actually wanted on PlayStation. It was only on Xbox for at least
Yeah.
the Dead Rising one. I think that would do well. And then the last one would be Ghost of Tsushima. And the only reason why I think Ghost of Tsushima will do well is that, and it's weird, I think it would actually do better than God of War, just because of the hack and slash aspect of it. It may not be the prettiest game visually because, Assassin's Creed's kind of outdone it to some extent, but I think some of the little nuanced things that it does, like running your hands through the grass, will be kind of cool. But I think the bigger thing, and people think I'm probably a psycho killer at this point, is that you can chop limbs. Like you can chop off people's arms, and the expressions from the AI characters when they do that and then they fall down or stumble and try to run away. It's I won't say it's hilarious because that sounds sadistic, but that's the type of stuff that we don't normally see. Like, yeah, the what do you call it? Ninja Gaiden 4,
Mm,
brutal. It's visceral and there's dismemberment and gore in that, and that's kind of like a thing that's been missing from a lot of games. But the fact that that was in Ghost of Tsushima to some extent, it's not as vivid as it is in Ninja Gaiden 4, but the fact that you have that kind of combat, we haven't really seen that in Assassin's Creed until Valhalla came around.
yeah.
So I think it would do well. Um, that's probably about it. I'm not saying that
Mm,
Ratchet and Clank wouldn't do well. I don't think
mm,
Astrobot would do anywhere near as well on Xbox. I know some people think the Horizon series might do well.
mhm. Like Sony
I,
really believes in Horizon. Like it's
I
crazy.
mean,
Like I
it looks
get it.
great, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it doing as well. Only because fetch quests in the first one weren't the most interesting. And then they didn't really improve them that much in the second one, but they improved the interactions with NPCs. So at least that made it look better. There was some false advertising with the second one. Like they're like, oh, you can fly on flying mounts. Like you couldn't do that in the first one, but in the second one you could, but they never told you that you couldn't do it until you played through over 50% of the game. It's like you would have figured, oh, I shoot one down and knock them out or whatever, and then I can, convert them over like you can do some of the other beasts and stuff or the other robotic animals. And no, you couldn't do it until you did like the equivalent of like chapter two of of three chapters in the game. Like you have to be more than halfway through to be able to do it, and that pissed me off because I was able to climb to certain areas that you're not supposed to be able to reach until you can get the flying mounts, and they wouldn't activate. Like there was a special
Mm,
armor on the side of a cliff, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh, I can figure out how to get to that cliff. Yeah, you're not supposed to do that. So it's like if you have a flying mechanic in the game, make the flying mechanic work from jump. Don't make it where I have to be level gated, where I almost finish the game before I get access to it. It's like at that point, do I really need to fly? If I can run fast or you know, it was just I don't know.
Yeah.
I was a fan of two more than one, but not by much. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah. I think Spider-Man probably would do the best. But yeah, you made some good points. Like Days Gone, I didn't even think about that. That probably would do pretty well. Read some chats and then we're gonna get on out of here. Appreciate everybody for dropping on by. It's crazy. We're at 500 subs. We have over 50 people in here earlier in the show, and you guys are amazing. Like literally, it was crazy. The two or three episodes ago, me and Fuzz took like a month break, and then it was like you guys popped in as if nothing happened, and I really do appreciate y'all. You guys are an amazing community, and means a lot. So thank you guys for popping up every single show and having us just nerd out about games. Because at the end of the day, me and Fuzzy, we love talking about games. We love games in general. We love this community. So really appreciate y'all. Sappho says, you know what's crazy? You buy something from the store only to see an ad for it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. Ray Old says, you brought OJ last week. Chill out. You guys talk about that. And Ray Old says, it's crazy how Minecraft is still going strong. Yeah, I just started replaying Minecraft. Me and the wifey have been playing it. We're having this whole adventure going on right now. We're trying to find diamonds and things like that. It's fun. It is fun. I see the appeal. I think it's just crazy how like everyone who bought Minecraft, don't they already have it? I still don't understand how it keeps no matter what, it's always like consistently a Minecraft and like Call of Duty. Like I get Call of Duty, sure. But Minecraft came out years ago. When did Minecraft come out? It came out.
It was like the early part of Xbox One, or maybe it came out just before the Xbox One.
Yeah. It
It had to be
said
like
that a public
2014 or
alpha
something.
version was 2009.
Oh wow.
I know they had like the Java version though. I don't know if
Hmm.
that's what it's talking about. And then eventually it had the Xbox console version at some point. But that's crazy that it keeps hitting these charts. I mean, it's impressive, and I know they have like DLC packs and things like that, which probably
Yeah.
keeps it up in the charts for sure. Um,
If it's anything like when my kids were younger, some of it might be the kids break the disc. Because at that time, I think a lot of people were buying games still on disc, and I there was a time where the boys they had their Xbox One, the VCR size one, eat the Minecraft CD, Dying Light, and something
mhm.
else, and I'm like, I gotta buy all three of these games again. It was
They're
like,
eating
oh,
the
it ate
CDs.
the well, it would you put the disc in and it would go, "Rah, rah, rah," and
Oh
then
yeah,
it would
yeah.
come out and it would never play again. And then they decide, well, let me put another game in. It's like, no, come get me when you put the first one in and it made noise. You put 3 discs in, and then you figure by the third disc, that's when you call me, and then they put a fourth disc to show me. I'm like,
I thought you said it at first, like the kids were eating. I'm like, you need to put some salt or something on it, like some salt, some pepper, something on the CDs, make it taste good. But I think that's kind of a good thing if you don't have if you have like a Series S, there is no CD, so it's like haha. But
yeah.
We got Ray Old saying, I hope Microsoft takes Forza Horizon seriously. And I mean, seriously, it's a casual, friendly racer, just like Need for Speed used to be. Take it to new heights, but stay true to the series. Yeah, I think they are. I think that's why they saw the potential, and that's why this was the game they chose to put on PS5 at the time that they did. We have PTK Blam saying, PlayStation being unable to capitalize or create a live service game does not get talked about enough. Yes, but that's why you guys tune in to Pixelated Echoes, where we discuss it here live. No, I feel like the media, again, they protect Sony, and they just see things really late in the game whenever we're talking about the future of where these brands are going. But Sony has this weird protection barrier. I don't know what it is with the media and Sony, but they definitely have a hold on. It might just be because Sony is such a popular brand that people just see it differently. Like it's the cool kid console, right? Like when you are talking to I talk to a lot of students and kids when I teach stuff. I teach like animation and game design and all that different stuff, and it's always like, hey, you gonna hit me up on PS5, like that's the thing. So for the younger audience, whatever, like that's the brand. The brand is really powerful, and I think that spills into journalism. Like I talked about all this with like the Xbox tax stuff, where if you are a journalist and you're reviewing a game, they usually ask for a PS5 copy more so than an Xbox copy. And sometimes they reject Xbox copies. Like they like, I don't really want it. So you will see reviews of a game, and you'll see way more Sony reviews than Xbox reviews. And that usually will skew the score, sometimes positively to Xbox, but that's rare. You usually see like negative score on Xbox. The same game sometimes even performs better on an Xbox, but we'll have more reviews on the PS side of things. So it is what it is. Eventually, I think when all these Xbox, Sony, Nintendo games all combine into whatever this box is called, the Nintendo Sony Xbox, maybe that conversation will start to go away or dilute a little bit when these console wars are over in my amazing future where I could play all of them. But until then, the media will continue to be on Sony's side. Just a couple more, you guys, but we're gonna get on out of here. Ray Old says, no, I read that. Ray Old says kids are being born to keep Minecraft going. Yeah. And last question for Ray Old. He said, do you think we'll get any new game announcements at QuakeCon on Thursday? Ooh. Oh, I think you're muted.
Sorry about that. I wish we would get something along the lines of either a new Quake or Wolfenstein, but I know that's not in the cards right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if we get another remaster or something along those lines, possibly.
Yeah, I hope we get some. Usually we'll get like a snippet. I know they already released Doom and stuff, and usually that's what pops up at a QuakeCon. But yeah, hope we get a Quake at a QuakeCon. what about that? You know, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But appreciate everybody for dropping on in. That's a wrap. That's the wrap up for today's episode of the Pixelated Echoes. Fuzzy, please tell people where they can find you on social media and what you got going on, man.
Oh, as always, love doing this on Sunday evening with you. Just enjoy talking about the industry and interacting with the chat. Just so many games coming our way before this year is out. The backlog is starting to pile up because I'm still playing some of my old favorites and stuff. But man, this is going to be one heck of a year, and Xbox is killing it. Publisher of the year is pretty much theirs for the taking, and yeah, I'm looking forward to Gamescom later this month. So it it's time to enjoy some games and less console war, more console play time. So I don't know, but you can always hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related on social media. Just do a search for Fuzzy Belvedere. You can find me there, and yeah, look forward to next Sunday.
Yeah. Next Sunday, you guys show up right here. PTK has the last question. What game are you looking forward to most at Gamescom? Said it earlier, but I think for me, it's gonna be if Metal Gear is there, that's definitely on the list. And then I want to see more of Indiana Jones. I want to see that DLC. I beat the game. I love the game. Fuzzy got kind of screwed over. Maybe this will reel Fuzzy back in. His game got bugged on Indiana Jones, so maybe this could be the thing that brings it back. brings it back.
Well, I wanted to do that fast travel to burn some of the propaganda things, and then I got stuck.
It's like, shoot. Oh man, I hope I hope you revisit it at some point. It's a great game. And that's it, y'all. My name is 3-Bit. You guys can find me right here on the Pixelated Echoes podcast every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. I've been trying to make the Thursday show. It's just been too crazy on my end for Fun Speculation, but go check Fun Speculation out as well. He does the FSP podcast now. Is it Thursdays?
Yes.
Yeah, Thursdays. Go check it out. Awesome crew over there as well. I will try to make it when I can. If not, then yeah, it's a great show, y'all. Be sure to. Sorry, I'm reading you guys little thing. Also, the fact that we have 500 subs, I'm getting all these little new features in YouTube. I'm gonna play around with it, see what's popping up. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe. More content from the Pixelated Echoes. And good night, y'all. See you on the next one. Bye.
Mm-hmm.